Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagined big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, 1 family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
Hi. For many years, I had to make tough decisions for my team and players. The decision for you is quite simple. If you have a house that is in need of repair, call my friend Dale. Dale buy houses. Recently, I spoke with Dale about my property. He gave me all of the do's and don'ts. He wanted me to be smart about the decision I was going to make. You ought to be smart too. Call Dale. He buy houses.
The birth of legends are storied in this conference. We must never forget our rich history. We now turn our gaze to the future. The new legends will emerge. New heroes to arise. The Southwestern Athletic Conference. Be our history.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Clarence Buggs and the coach at Scoreboards Restaurant, Baton Rouge's newest sports grill, 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Coach, Jaguars finish out their home schedule with a resounding win over Arkansas Pine Bluff. A game that looked like the Jazz were trying to make a statement, Coach.
I think they were trying to make a statement. They're sending a message to Grambling. We're coming. The last couple of years, y'all gotten us. Now this is our year.
One of the best stories to come out of that win was 6th-year senior Randall Menard. 85 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns. Says a lot about that young man that he's stuck around after some serious injuries to still be a part of the team.
Yeah, I really love it when young people like Menard stay around. They fight through injuries, they graduate, and then the last home game, he gets to have a really good going-away party.
Do you think most people truly appreciate what sacrifices that athletes from the smaller schools make, understanding most of them have no chance of ever playing at the, quote, next level?
Well, the sacrifices are the same, Clarence, when I look at them. They have to go to class. They have to go to the weight room. They have to do community service. They have to be good citizens. All of the same things exist,
right,
but it's on a smaller schedule.
Of course, now, on a larger scale, if you play for either a Grambling or a Southern, you still have the opportunity to play on a national or regional level with a game like the Bayou Classic. Can you put a dollar figure on that kind of exposure, Coach?
Well, there's never a dollar figure you can put on that kind of exposure. As it relates to the 2 schools you're speaking about, Southern and Grambling,
right,
historically, it's been a money game for them. And if both teams are, like it is this year, playing for the Western title,
right,
there ought to be 70,000 people, at least 60, sitting in that Superdome.
You know, you're like me in that you are big on the opportunities that this great country of ours affords people, whether they are rich, poor, black, white, large in stature, small in stature. What does it say to you that 2 small schools like a Grambling and Southern have been able to put together an annual game that has survived this long and still retain its popularity?
Yes, I remember the very first one in 1974 when they had the legendary quarterback Doug Williams playing, and they put 74,000 in Tulane Stadium at the time. And when you think it has survived that long, it's really a tribute to the both schools that they've had the product that people want. And for many, many years, NBC carried it from Portland, Maine to Portland, Oregon.
From sea to shining sea.
Oh, Clarence, only you could have said it.
So what do you think A.W. Mumford and Eddie Robinson would think about the classic and what it's become, Coach?
Well, that was Mumford never got to live to see it, but in Eddie Robinson's case, he created it.
Right.
And when you think about, I was thinking about all the historical black coaches and players. And people like Eddie Robinson and A.W. Mumford, they worked in obscurity. They did a lot of good things that no one knew about.
That's right.
And it's a shame that people didn't know about the great accomplishment. But you know what? Now it's trickling down now where kids can benefit from all of their hard work.
You know, when I used to cover Eddie Robinson and the SWAC, he would always, in his post-game comments when he'd go across the field to meet the opposing coach, he'd always tell them, man, we gave them their money's worth. We gave them a show tonight. Are we losing sight of the fact in some regard of what we owe the fans in that regard in our quest to win all the time?
Yeah, well, what is happening, Clarence, we are living in different time, and it's a new generation. And the product, for instance, we're in the same city with LSU.
Right.
The product LSU puts on the field and the fact that they're in the top conference in the whole world makes it difficult for someone like Southern because the new generation of people want to see, if they're going to pay top dollars, they're going to go and see a top level athlete.
Right.
And I mean, we can't deny that.
Of course, now at the same time, when you take into account what desegregation did to the ranks of the HBCUs always getting the best talent, the fact that they're still around and can still pull that many people into the dome says that we do have a good core product. We can just maybe do a little better job of marketing of that.
Well, the Bayou Classic attract people from all over the country.
Amen.
And some out of the world, outside the country. That's the difference. On a weekly basis, we're dealing with the local people. But when you get on the big stage like the Bayou Classic, you got people coming from all 50 states and other properties outside of the state. They want to be there. Anytime
you can plan weddings and holidays around the Bayou Classic, that tells you something. When we come back, we'll talk a little LSU on the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Hi. For many years, I had to make tough decisions for my team and players. The decision for you is quite simple. If you have a house that is in need of repair, call my friend Dale. Dale buy houses. Recently, I spoke with Dale about my property. He gave me all of the do's and don'ts. He wanted me to be smart about the decision I was going to make. You ought to be smart too. Call Dale. He buy houses.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagine big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, one family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
My name is Dr. Ashley Blanche, chiropractic physician at Momentum Chiropractic and Sports Rehab. We are here to get you better faster if you suffer from any type of injury ranging from sprain and strain injuries to nerve pain. If you have an injury and you have a question about it or want us to evaluate you, please give us a call at 225-218-6126, or you can visit our website, mymomentumcare.com, for more information about our services.
Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
Welcome back to segment 2 of this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show. Coach, LSU rebounds against Arkansas after taking it on the chin against Alabama. But a lot of Tiger fans disappointed because LSU didn't blow Arkansas away. Is that a fair criticism?
It's fans, Clarence. They don't understand. The coaching staff are happy to take the win along with the players.
Right.
Because let me just say this, that was a difficult game for LSU. Anytime you come from playing the top team in the nation,
right,
it's a letdown the next team.
Of course.
That team hadn't won a game yet in the SEC.
Right.
So there is a tendency to take them for granted. But I thought the coaching staff did a really good job of preparing the team, getting them ready to play, and they did a really good job. And they played within the spread margin.
And of course, you know, we adults are always, and sometimes unfairly, overly critical, but lest we forget, these are young men that we're talking about, and sometimes you can preach till you're blue in the face, and it's just that, just preaching. They don't listen.
They don't listen, and they have other interests that the professional athletes don't. They have girlfriends, they have college work, they have other interests, they want to be with their friends. I mean, it's a whole another gimmick about young people in college athletics.
Coach Orgeron said this week they lost their identity after the Georgia game, getting away from the things that made them successful. It's kind of easy to do that sometimes when you're winning, isn't it?
It's easy. But you know what? They're trying to create a culture of winning at LSU. They're trying to reinvent what Les Miles did for so many years.
Right.
And Nick Saban before him.
Of course, now, taking on a hapless team like Rice University this week should make it a lot easier to correct those wrongs, right? Or does it go back to what we just finished talking about?
Yeah, you really don't want to say hapless and take anybody for granted. They're a Division I school, and you fool around and make mistakes and don't play your very best, things will happen.
And of course, looking at practice early this week, there were some 8 guys missing from defense at the early week practice. You think most people truly appreciate how grueling the Tigers' schedule is playing in the western half of the SEC?
Well, all of the SEC schedule is grueling because they all have pretty good athletes.
Right.
And LSU schedule is no different than what Georgia is in Kentucky and Florida and Missouri and so on and so on.
Right.
It's just that with 8 people out, that's tough.
Yeah.
Because that's 75% of your defense.
Of course, now, the same people complain when they see the likes of Southeastern and Rice on the Tigers' schedule. What do you say to those folks, Coach?
Well, I think when the NCAA allowed those people to play the Southeastern and the UL and so on and so on,
right,
they did it because they realized those players probably need to be able to have a schedule where they're not playing top flight schools week in and week out.
Right. Of course, now, when all is said and done, Bebe's put together a heck of a run with a team that nobody really expected much of anything out of this year, Coach.
Not just the team, not much Bebe. They were thinking about cheverling Bebe out the door, but Bebe has come in and did a really good coaching job, and he's been cool under pressure. And I like the fact that every week he's got his kids prepared to win the game.
Early bowl talk has already started. A lot of folks saying Peach Bowl, Fiesta Bowl. How tough is it to keep a group of young men like this focused on the mission at hand and not pay attention or too much attention to all that clutter?
Yeah, That's the job. You see, he's got three things. He's got 2 more games, regular season games, and he's got, which Texas A&M is going to be tough to beat.
Right.
And then you got kids having finals that they have to take care of, and then they're going to go home for a few days. I mean, there are a lot of things that they have to manage before they start talking about a bowl game.
Well, speaking of things to manage, we're going to manage to talk a little New Orleans Saints when we come back for segment 3 of the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
Hi. For many years, I had to make tough decisions for my team and players. The decision for you is quite simple. If you have a house that is in need of repair, call my friend Dale. Dale buy houses. Recently, I spoke with Dale about my property. He gave me all of the do's and don'ts. He wanted me to be smart about the decision I was going to make. You ought to be smart too. Call Dale. He buy houses. Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg. We just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagine big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, 1 family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
Welcome back for this week's segment 3 of the Roger Cador Show. Saints continue, Coach, mowing down opponent after opponent after opponent. Against Cincinnati, this team looked unstoppable, Coach.
Oh, they played very well, and Drew Brees is really the catalyst. He's got everything clicking. He's got a great running game, a very good short game with the Michael Thomas, and he's just doing so. And Kamara out of the backfield. And
Ingram starting to up his game.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, and that's the beauty. Brees knows where everyone is, and he makes sure that he can distribute the ball equally.
Look at the fact that they tried to bring in Des Bryant, suffers an Achilles injury, last play of the first practice. That's got to be devastating from his viewpoint, you think?
It is devastating. Maybe we should have stopped a play before in practice. I mean, but all jokes aside, it's devastating. And that's one in the risk when you sign someone who has been inactive for so long.
Right.
Because sometimes these great athletes don't work out as much as they should. And that's one of the real problem you have when you sign them.
Of course, now the good news is they'd also already worked out Brandel Marshall, had him on standby to fill in the gap. Both Dez and Brandon had some, shall we say, troubles in the league in their past. How much consideration do you give that this time of year? Or are you just trying to get ready for the stretch run? You sign a guy and just kind of hope for the best?
Well, you know, when you look at New England signed Josh Gordon, who really had problems.
Really, yeah.
Unless you know how difficult it is, and when teams who are trying to win, they have to take sometimes people with a little shaky history. Remember, no one is perfect.
Of course.
And in football, you have a lot of people who are taught to be aggressive. And when you find out, you know, you take what you can at this point. The food.
Oh yeah, gotta have the food. The Saints played a near perfect game against Cincinnati. Any fear they might be peaking just a little too soon, Coach?
You never know, Clarence. The way I look at it is that the Saints are doing exactly what they need to do in each game that they play.
Right.
And I think everything is going to be fine as long as they can keep their injuries down.
Right.
I saw where number 72, their big left protected tackle.
Right.
That's the tackle that protects Drew Brees.
Correct. And Bushrod stepped in and has done a great job in filling that in.
Well, that's good to know because, you know, injuries can pay. All it takes is one key injury, and it throws everything out of sync.
Some folks might have been tempted to say, well, the Saints were supposed to dismantle the Bengals because they weren't all that good to begin with. What do you say to someone who thinks that way, Coach?
Well, you know, that's what people, at the pro level, it's a little different. New England should have beaten the Titans if that was the case.
Good point.
You know, and it just doesn't work that way in the pro. You have to play every weekend. You have to come out and play because all of those guys are real pros.
Of course, now we have a mutual friend of ours that used to be fond of saying, there's nothing wrong with killing a gnat with a sledgehammer, is there?
Ooh.
You know who I'm talking about,
yes,
right?
I'm not going to call his name.
There's nothing wrong with killing a gnat with a sledgehammer, is there?
It's really, in his word, it isn't.
Right.
Let me put it. And I guess in athletics word, it's really not that bad because you are supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Because what you're trying to do is send a message to your opponents.
What do you think the word is around the league now about the Saints?
Well, you got to first stop their offense. You got to find a way to stop the running game, the short pass, and that's the key.
If the Saints are able to get one more cog offensively, take all of the defensive spotlight off of Thomas, how far can this team go, Coach?
Well, they're capable, as from what I've seen, they can go to the Super Bowl. And if they get there, they have a chance to win it.
Do you think at this point, having, as another mutual friend of ours says, once you tasted filet mignon, smoked sausage just won't cut it. Do you think they'll be content to just get back there, or do they want to desperately go 2 for 2?
Oh, they want to go back and win the Super Bowl. Let me tell you, that's every team's goal. And when you get with the Saints, who have the veteran quarterback with a proven factor.
And who may not be around much longer.
There you go.
Yeah.
When you're 39, your day's a limit. The sun rise a little quicker and set a little quicker.
Remember where you heard it next time you see that sun go down. When we come back, we'll wrap up the Roger Cador Show. Stay close.
Oh, my. Hey, Coach Roger Cador here. There's something about teamwork that brings the best out in any business. When I need a tow, I call Roadrunner Towing. Roadrunner's 4 generations strong and homegrown right here in Baton Rouge.
Thanks, Coach. There's no job too large or too small. Call Roadrunner for quick, reliable, exceptional service. We don't want an arm and a leg, we just want your toes. And remember, take time each day to be a blessing to someone. Thank you.
My name is Dr. Ashley Blanche, chiropractic physician at Momentum Chiropractic and Sports Rehab. We are here to get you better faster if you suffer from any type of injury ranging from sprain and strain injuries to nerve pain. If you have an injury and you have a question about it or want us to evaluate you, please give us a call at 225-218-6126, or you can visit our website, mymomentumcare.com, for more information about our services.
It was nearly a decade ago that Brett teamed up to Imagine Your Parks, and you imagine big. 12 beautiful community parks from one end of the parish to the other, 1 family-sized water park, and 5 other parks just for your dogs. You have places to splash and places to explore. You have games to play and camps galore. No matter what you like to do or see, visit Breck.org and see how together we have made Breck better than imagined.
Hi. For many years, I had to make tough decisions for my team and players. The decision for you is quite simple. If you have a house that is in need of repair, call my friend Dale. Dale Buy Houses. Recently, I spoke with Dale about my property. He gave me all of the do's and don'ts. He wanted me to be smart about the decision I was going to make. You ought to be smart too. Call Dale. He buy houses.
You don't have to understand the physics of flying to fly easy. Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
Welcome back for our final segment of this week's edition of the Roger Cador Show, coming to you from Scoreboard's Sports Grill, Baton Rouge's newest sports grill. Coach, can you say enough about the food? Well, there goes my answer right there, right?
There it is. I'm trying to get like Jimmy Ott.
By the way, he told me, don't be calling him out on television, Coach. But if you haven't been by yet, make it a point. The bread pudding, oh, and listen, a South Louisiana boy, I know bread pudding. You got to come try some of this. The chicken fettuccine, oh, and the catfish Italiano. Oh, my God, it is to die for. Weekend specials, snow crab, barbecue, you name it, they've got it. Coach, time's running out. For folks to get out and support their local high schools still alive in the playoffs. They really deserve our support, don't they?
Oh, they do. Again, they are a part of the community, and the kids who are playing, the families need to come out, everybody. And you know, this is big for high school sports.
Yeah, and of course, just because football's winding down, their obligation isn't over. Basketball is kicking into high gear as well.
I swear, tell you it is, and I tell you, Baton Rouge has had some great football, basketball, and great baseball programs.
And of course, we need to acknowledge the ladies volleyball. They're wrapping up state championship also.
We don't want to forget about them because they've done very well.
That's right. And of course, Jaguar fans, get those Bayou Classic tickets. Want to see lots of blue and gold in the Mercedes Superdome for this year's Bayou Classic. That pretty much does it, huh, Coach?
It does? Ooh, my Clarence.
Just a few minutes, we can take care of some business on the plates right here. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. Scoreboards, Baton Rouge's newest sports grill. They'd love to see you. Come on by. On behalf of the coach and the crew, I'm Clarence Buggs. See you next week with another Roger Cador Show.